To increase capacity, we've been working at a record pace to improve your customer experience. Our teams are working around the clock to build more fiber, triple upstream bandwidth, and install new smart equipment that helps us monitor network performance remotely and resolve issues faster. Additionally, as many of you know, we're in the middle of a huge renovation project at our campus in Goleta. The cornerstone of this project is our brand new critical facility. This is the brains of the operation, the building that holds all the back-end equipment and technology that powers all of your services throughout the area. We're bursting at the seams in our current critical facility. In fact, it's a good thing that so many of our employees are working from home right now, as we've taken over some existing office space to house the equipment needed for some of these accelerated projects until the new building is ready. When the new critical facility is complete and online next year, it will not only provide for our residential and business customer demands now, but for decades to come. All of this investment enables us to keep up with customer demands and powers the smart homes, businesses, and communities of the future. Cox's commitment to investing in the areas we serve goes beyond just infrastructure, to include supporting our customers and investing in our communities, particularly through the hardships that COVID is creating. Cox signed the FCC Keep America Connected pledge in the spring, giving our customers peace of mind that we would not disconnect those who couldn't pay their bills due to COVID. We also waived late fees and data use limits. We expanded our Cox Complete Care remote desktop support, implemented stringent safety and health protocols at our solution store and offices, and developed new virtual tech support models to assist customers when face-to-face visits were not possible, all to keep our customers connected during these unprecedented times. In addition, for our business customers, we have adjusted services and contracts as needed, and we've rolled out new services, packages, and bundles to help as our customers reimagine the way they do business and to support more remote offices. Cox continues to be at the forefront of digital equity discussions at the state, federal, and local levels. Since March, we've expanded our low-cost internet offerings with a focus on our Connect to Compete program to help ensure every child has access to the internet and can succeed in a virtual learning environment. For back to school, we're offering 2 months free for all new C2C customers who sign up by September 30th. And locally, we're working hand in hand with the school districts and partners in education to get everyone connected. We've provided additional grants to both partners and the new SOAR campaign, Student Online and Academic Resources, through the Santa Barbara Education Foundation. Through this private fund, or this fund of private donors, including Cox, we're helping Santa Barbara Unified bridge the digital divide with connectivity, equipment, and additional staffing. I'll put a quick plug in here for both Partners in Education and SOAR. If anyone is interested in donating or getting involved, please let me know. I'm happy to pull you in and get your support. Additionally, Cox serves on the State Superintendent's Digital Divide Task Force, and we're working very closely with State Superintendent Thurman on this, and with Governor Newsom to write the California version of the FCC pledge. And of course, we continue to focus on our community giving, providing additional COVID grants to the food bank, the Unity Shop, and the Bucket Brigade, and supporting the United Way Santa Barbara Foundation joint response efforts, the Santa Barbara Better Together Fund, thank you for that update this morning, Kristen, and the cities and the county in their COVID outreach. Finally, given that the pandemic does not slow down wildfires, we continue to focus on wildfire and public safety power shutoff preparedness. That is a mouthful, PSPS, as we all fondly refer to it, and keeping our customers connected during emergency events. This includes ongoing business continuity planning to ensure we are ready for any unplanned disruptions, staying connected to our customers before, during, and after a PSPS event, a wildfire, or any other natural disaster through a variety of traditional and social media platforms, coordinating closely with our power companies, including Edison here in Santa Barbara, on behalf of our customers to minimize the impact of fires or PSPS events, and engaging with our emergency responders, emergency managers, and our elected officials to support the community. There's a few things on this slide that you can do to help prepare and stay connected to us too. Follow us on social media, download our Cox apps, set up Cox Wi-Fi, and sign up for text alerts, and then have backup batteries for your cell phones and telephone modems, as well as a corded phone if you still have a landline. And I'll wrap up by saying how proud we are here at Cox to be a part of this amazing community. We are so grateful for your business and for what you all are doing to support our people, our businesses, and our community during these difficult times. Thank you. And I don't know if we're doing questions, but I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Kirsten. We're going to do questions at the end if you can stay on. And that's a good reminder for me to ask people. I think we're asking them to put those into the Q&A box here on the presentation software. And thank you for that fantastic overview. Next, we have Lynn Morfeld with us from the California Lodging Association. We've been working diligently to keep up with news about how to continue to support our lodging and tourism industry, which is so important here on the Santa Barbara South Coast. So we're happy to have a little larger perspective from you this morning, Lynn. Welcome.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. And to the other Christian, thank you for what you're doing with Cox and making sure that all those kids are connected. I got a couple of those at home. I'm hoping they can go back to school sometime and get out of my house, quite frankly. So for the hotels, it's been very difficult. We've been one of the hardest hit industries in the state. We've got over 100,000 people laid off. We've got 20% of our hotels that are closed. And quite frankly, our larger hotels, our convention center hotels, and the ones that have the group business, which we're not allowed to have yet, those are where the most of the closures have occurred. So in those closures, those are also the ones where we have the most employees that are displaced. So those are the most labor intensive properties that we have. And so we've really had a hard time with our employees. We're trying to keep them on furlough, on benefits, connected to our properties as well as we can. That's getting more difficult as the uncertainty goes on, and we really can't get any answers from the government or health department. And so that uncertainty is actually probably one of our number one enemies in this entire process and being able to plan. If you go and look at conference, convention, group business, they book in advance. Sometimes several years in advance. They open up their registration months in advance for their events, and they need certainty and to be able to actually plan for their events. And so what we've seen recently, probably in the last, I'm going to say month or so, is we've seen a little bit of cross competition from other states that are open. So the Floridas are saying, hey, we're open and we'll take all that California business. And so a lot of people want to have their conferences, especially the national conferences. They're big money makers for associations and national groups, et cetera. And so they're looking for a place to hold it. And, you know, the health issues are, I wouldn't say secondary, but they also want to hold it. So they're looking at hedging their bets and what they can and can't do. So California's inability to provide guidance in this area has been a sticking point for us. So in terms of our discussions with the governor's office, they're a little busy this week, pretty much all the way across the board in terms of the fires. And so let me stop and talk about the fires for a minute. Previously for wildfires, what we would do is we would put all the displaced residents, first responders, we would have communal settings for them. We would put them in meeting rooms, banquet rooms, auditoriums, everything else. With COVID-19, we can't do that. So we have to segment everyone. And so that has changed dramatically in how we deal with disasters in California. And it may be the model for what we do in the future. to the state's credit, we've been working on that with them for months in terms of identifying the hot spots, identifying hotels, who has meeting space, who has parking lots for equipment, and first responder transportation, staging areas, etc. And so we've been working with the state. They saw it, they recognized it. That said, when it comes like this, and I'm really, really tired of this word, we have another unprecedented event. My God, how many unprecedented events can we have in 2020? Let's just stop that for right now. But here we are. The entire north part of the state is on fire, and we have zero containment on a couple of these. The weather is going to be our friend over the next couple of days, but people are still going to be displaced, and we've got folks that have lost their homes, unfortunately, and they're going to need longer term stays as well. So I'm working with the state almost nonstop to try and figure that out, make sure that we have the support that we have there. And I will say, just as a caution for the hoteliers, well, anyone on the call, the governor declared a state of emergency. He actually declared 2 state of emergencies within 4 days. I think that's a record for California. The first one is for the heat event, and the second one is for the heat and the wildfires. Any pricing has to be within 10% of what your existing pricing was. So this is an anti-gouging law that's out there. We put out a note immediately to all the hotels that said, hey, this is not the time to try and make money. And it's very difficult for the hotels right now because they've been closed and we're out of money and we're having trouble paying our mortgages. So on that side, just be very, very careful. And this is not the time to try and make hay while the sun shines, as they say. So now we need a little compassion. We need the community to participate, and we need a little help from the lodging industry. So that's my fire side. On the governor, they have been receptive to us. But on a 35,000 foot view, we have a public health apparatus and mechanism that has no concept of negotiating and business and economic consequences. Then we have the governor's office and GoBiz, which is California's economic development department, and those two are having trouble syncing up. So the health department is kind of like negotiating with your doctor. It's like, he tells you he gives you a prescription and says, hey, I'm going to give you this prescription. It's going to be 10 milligrams. And can you imagine going to him and saying, hey, well, what about 5 milligrams? Will that work out? How about that? And so they have no concept of doing any kind of negotiations. And so when we go speak to them as business people, they're just like, this is about public health. We don't care about any business concerns whatsoever. And we have employees on the business side. And so we have to make sure that we cover those. And so that's been a lot of the back and forth. And now what we're seeing right now is we're seeing individual counties, and we've had a great relationship with Santa Barbara, with your emergency services, your city manager, your county. We're definitely on that, and we want to be good. We've got safe and clean guidelines. We're ready to open. We've been open all the way through the pandemic. And we've been hosting essential visitors. We've had 0 cluster outbreaks at hotels. So we're good at this. We know how to do this. This is not something that we're unfamiliar with. Cleanliness was always our number one thing. Now it is really our number one thing, and there is no number 2 after that. And so this is all working out pretty well. But what we're getting now is we're getting a little movement on kind of different changes with the health orders. So in San Francisco, in Santa Barbara, for example, they can host weddings. In San Mateo, they can host small groups. In other areas, they have other little differences. And so from a state perspective, I don't want to be playing whack-a-mole with 58 different county perspectives. But at this point, I'm willing to look at those county perspectives, see where the more aggressive ones are and the safe ones are, and follow their best practices, and then promulgate those to other counties. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. The governor is largely focused on wildfires and unemployment and the economy right now. And so business is kind of taking a secondary approach, but it's not lack of hearing from us. Everyone from retail to the property owners, excuse me, and everyone else. We've been on his phone and texting and everything else. And so we're there and we're getting there, but these are all uncertain times, and we're asking our government to do something new and quick, neither which they're adept at. And we're in the middle of a pandemic, and so the consequences are insane. So we want to make sure that we do things right, and I can understand their hesitation, but the uncertainty is really what we need to cut through at this point. So I will stop there. I'm kind of on my soapbox here, but thanks to all the Santa Barbara supporters and the hotels out there that have done the right thing, that have put together the protocol, that have the PPE for their employees, and let's keep everyone safe and do the right thing so that we can get tourism more open for Santa Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Again, a very eye-opening and helpful discussion, and one that I think we should continue to amplify between the Chamber and your organization. So thank you for being here today. Lastly, I am delighted to introduce Suzanne Gremesi, our PIO and Chief Quality Care and Strategy Officer for Santa Barbara County Department of Behavioral Wellness. I have called on Suzanne in times of crisis for many years to help us recognize our community's emotional and mental health and how critical that is to our economic vitality and our business climate as well. So thank you for being with us again today, Suzanne.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It's a pleasure. This morning as I was getting up and thinking about the day and thinking about the opportunity to join you, I was thinking of the past experiences in joining. Well, I remember joining around the ash and the air quality with the Thomas Fire. I remember joining after the debris flow. I remember joining after the PSPS or all that went with that. And here I am now. If anyone could open the dictionary and look at an image that went with resiliency, it would be this group. I have no question. You guys are just amazing. And I'll start with sharing that I've had a unique, so many of these disasters are first timers, but I've had a unique experience with COVID-19 in that one of my roles in the emergency response is to be in the ambassador role with businesses, with the different industries, and helping when there are questions or complaints, but helping businesses to understand the guidance and help them to reopen. And it's been such a joy to be in that role and to hear firsthand the struggles and see the creativity in place. But that said, so COVID-19 has impacted every single person within our community. Events have been canceled. Schools are now beginning in a whole new way with remote learning. Businesses have closed. Some have reopened in very creative ways, and others will take a lot longer to be allowed to safely reopen. But every one of us is being asked to make life-altering changes in our everyday activities. As we were chatting before this meeting started, Kristen was talking about her senior and what a senior year might look like right now. Often, though, we have to make these changes without any notice and with little time to prepare. Things are changing regularly. And the challenges that the business owners are facing, endless. I would ask how many of you are parents, but I can't see all of you. So I'm going to make the assumption that there's a lot of parents in this group, and that you will understand the challenge of needing to balance remote learning of children at home while balancing work or running a business. Not knowing the timeline for when our situation will change, in addition to the continued uncertainty, causes stress, which can even develop into really more impairing anxiety for some. Uncertainty and lack of control are the two key drivers of stress. And stress is directly related to increased anxiety and even depression. I have no question that we are going to see longer-term mental health impacts from this pandemic. And in fact, literature is already starting to show us the toll that is being taken. As an example, I want to share a few different groups, but as an example, in the recent weeks, we've seen the serious complications of COVID-19 affecting not only older adults, but the younger adults in our population as well. The Center for Disease Control reports that 1 in 4 adults between the ages of 18 and 24 say that they have considered suicide in the past month because of the pandemic. A survey conducted also by CDC with over 5,000 young adult participants in the end of June shows a surge of anxiety and substance abuse was also noted, with more than 40% saying that they've experienced a mental or behavioral health condition related to the pandemic. In Santa Barbara County, to give you a barometer, 74% of our total positive cases are under the age of 50, with nearly 8% being children under the age of 18, and over a quarter of our cases in the county are between the ages of 18 to 29, nearly 40% between 30 to 49. So this is a significant thing to pay attention to. Another example of the mental health impact that's occurring is with children. I want to take a minute to speak to this given the recent return to school with remote learning. The brains of our children and youth are still developing, and they need the engagement and the interaction with others for their healthy development. They need this. And the 2 key ways that children get the psychological nutrition they need is through physical activity and school, both which have been impacted by COVID-19. Just as physical activity plays a critical role in a child's psychological development, so does school. The simple act of going to school is critically important, and yet it's not physically possible as we begin our school year, and there's uncertainty filling the child's mind of when this will be okay again. Having children at home who feel balanced and feel stress-free will benefit them and will ultimately make the job of a parent, especially a working parent, all the easier. So what are some things that parents and really any adult can do despite the school year beginning remotely to help our children? Remember that children see your actions and your reactions. And this just isn't just parents, this is all adults. So as school, show your excitement for the start of the school year. If you see a child, even if it's not yours, ask them what grade they're in, what classes they're taking. Keep some of those regular back to school traditions, whatever they are for you and your life and your family, keep some of them. You know, and for parents, just as working at home you do as an adult, set up an area for school in the home that's fun and it's special for your child. It shows both your excitement, but it also shows the importance of creating a space for learning. Just as it's important for adults, get kids excited about their nutrition. Involve them in the healthy planning for healthy snacks on school days. It will help them and it will help busy parents too. The last thing with going back to school that's so important with kids, but also important for adults, establish routines. Develop a schedule for home. This will give children a sense of knowing what to expect during a time that's filled with uncertainty. It helps parents, it helps adults in the exact same way. As business owners, as parents, life is full enough as it is, but adding the additional stress of living within a pandemic and then balancing work and life with children, now learning from home, life just got a whole lot busier. In closing, we are an incredibly strong community, not just because we've been through multiple challenges together, but because we know how to gain strength from one another. This group is a perfect example. We know how to come out of a terrible experience or a terrible event with a positive experience. An experience of seeing the strength and support present in our community. This is what creates resiliency. Here are some additional things before I stop talking that we can do to take care of ourselves as we go through this marathon that we don't even know where the end is. Practice self-care all the time, always, no matter what. Carve out time to take care of yourself, to do the things you enjoy. If you're taking a break from work, if you're at home, try not to run and do the laundry or pick things up. Go do something you enjoy. Take a brisk walk, sit in the sun for a few minutes, something you like. Get outside, move your body. Stay connected with others. Kristen mentioned the importance of this as she opened the meeting. Maintain a connection with others. Maybe it's within this group. Maybe it's within other business owners or other parents, friends, but share stories, share tips, share things that are and aren't working for you. Couple more things. Limit access to the news. Find a few trusted sources of news and check just a couple times a day. Normalize feelings of stress. Everyone is feeling anxious and stressed right now. None of us have experienced living within a pandemic before. We're feeling anxious, we're feeling stressed, and that is totally okay. Lastly, if possible, try and shift perspectives. There's so much unknown and outside of our control right now, but try and shift focus to what we do know and what we do have control over instead. Thank you very much for the opportunity to join, and thank you all for what you're doing in our community during a really, really hard time.
Thank you, Suzanne. This is why I rely on you to come remind us every once in a while that the stress and anxiety we're feeling is normal. And I don't want to boil down everything you said to that because you gave us so much good information, but we do have to remember that this is going to be a little rough. But as you said, we're resilient and making the best of it. I think our speakers today have given us a fantastic overview of different areas of our industry, our community, and our business community that will be helpful as we continue to navigate forward in a vibrant and successful way. So I appreciate all of you. We do have a few minutes for questions if there are any. And I'd like to introduce Courtney Rintoul to moderate our question and answer session here at the end of the webinar.
Yes, right now I just have one will the presentation be available for our employees? And yes, we started recording right after Melissa. We're so sorry, but we will put her presentation up and we will send the recording out. So we will share that.
Great.
And I don't have any more questions right now. Does anyone have any burning questions?
Wow.
You guys really covered it all.
I think it's either that or we're using new software this week and they're looking for the button. That's okay.
We just got a question. We are wondering what the current process is for businesses who are operating but not following COVID protocols.
Kristen, if you'd like, I might be able to speak to that. I'm kind of in the thicket of it.
Please, go right ahead.
I'm sure you know all of this, and if any of it sounds unfamiliar, let me know. I'm happy to help offline. But on the Recovery SBC website is a list of all the different industries that are allowed to open at this time. Under each industry, you can see the guidance specific to the industry, a template for the prevention plan that needs to be completed for that industry. And then it allows a business to go and complete their self-attestation to open. And the attestation is saying that they have reviewed the guidance and they're practicing their prevention plan. That said, we know and we've seen businesses that are not practicing safely. We found that some may not be aware of what I just shared, may not be aware of the guidance or exactly what they're supposed to do, and others that are aware, but perhaps need some more reminders that the community is watching, and we really need to model being safe so that you get the business that you need and deserve, and people can feel safe doing that. So a couple of options on that same website, the Recovery SBC, Ready SBC, as well as on the public health website, there's a link where you can click to file a complaint. So if somebody sees a business not practicing safely, they can go on and fill that out. You can do it anonymously. Behind the scenes, what you don't see is it populates a database for our code enforcement team, which includes, it comes to me, I'm not code enforcement, but I'm part of that team. It goes to environmental health, it goes to the cities, and then depending where the business is located, that triggers the right person to respond. There's always the goal of responding with an educational perspective first, helping to educate, support, give businesses what they need so that they can open safely and creatively. However, if actions are egregious or people multiple times are not following the stated guidelines, then it can result in a citation. So that's one option. I would give you the option of calling the call center also, but today is the last day for the county call center. We'll be using 211. People are calling law enforcement directly, but I would really encourage, if you see or hear of businesses that are not practicing safely, go online, fill out the form. Don't look at it as a bad thing. It's an opportunity to get someone to engage with that business to help them.
Thank you so much.
Courtney, I just want to respond to that and say as well that we've been appreciative that the county has often reached out to the chamber or our industry leaders for help in this area as well. And we really want to continue to preserve that relationship so that we can, again, as you said, be a way to help educate people to change things if they need to.
Yeah. If I could just chime in really quick, Suzanne, if you have any of those issues at hotels, I'm happy to try and facilitate those. And if anyone as business leaders has an issue with any particular hotel or the industry in general, call me. This is not something to mess around with. I'm not talking about signage laws. We're talking about public health. So this is something that we don't want to mess around with. So I'm definitely trying to get everyone to toe the line and do the right thing here, because doing the wrong thing has such significant consequences. So our website is calodging.com and my cell phone number is all over there. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me. We're here for that. Thank you.
Well
Thank
said.
Rich asked how many people have joined us this morning. We had about 75 people on, and we do put these under events on our website. Our next one will be in September, and we will put up the recording and send all of that out, and it will be in our newsletter as well. Someone's asking for the contact of the presenters. As long as you guys don't mind us sharing that, we will put a recap on the website and send it to everyone that's registered with information. Someone asked, if a business didn't close because they're essential, do they still need to do the attestation to register to reopen?
Yes. We have about 12,000 total businesses in the county, and all of those businesses would need to complete the attestation even if they never closed. And again, just in case that someone wonders why in the heck they need to do that if they didn't close, it's because it's really important for them to read the guidance specific to their industry and complete their prevention plan so that their employees are safe, so that the public coming in is safe, and that they can maintain business.
Agreed. Thank you for that, Suzanne. And also that attestation process is creating a very viable database for communication. So the emails that then go out include valuable information, including these grants. So it's good to get it in the system.
Bill's asking, how can we help bridge the disconnect between the state and the hospitality industry and all businesses, frankly? He's saying it's not just about public health. Do you have any thoughts on that, Lynn?
Yeah, the communication has been difficult. I'll be the first one to admit it. We can't go meet face to face with people, and so text is our thing. And we've had legislature out, and we've had the governor doing his own kind of process here. So all the old norms are kind of thrown by the wayside, and we're all trying to figure out how to do this. That said, there's not a good way to do this right now. So, I'm sorry to say that, but there is not a good way. Government's overwhelmed, underfunded. We've got fires, we've got unemployed, we've got business, we've got a state pandemic going through this. So right now we're just going to try and muddle through this as best we can. For the Hospitality Association, luckily we have a good relationship with the governor's office and with GoBiz. And we've been utilizing that to our advantage. We've also come as a good player. So I guess my advice for anyone talking with the state or your elected officials is we've all got our own set of problems. Try and bring them a solution and tell them how you can help them. And that has worked well for us in terms of housing the vulnerable populations and the fire assistance and everything else. They know we want to do the right thing and everything. So I guess what I would say is try and ask them how you can help. But the communications are very trying in this time. Sorry.
That's
No,
it.
it's okay. Thank you. All right. Well, as has become our custom here at the end of the webinar, sometimes we've talked about very important and serious things. We try to give you a little humor to send you off on your Friday morning. So this one was my favorite for the week. I remember now what they remind me of. You guys remember this on Saturday night? All right. With that, I will send you off to a happy and productive weekend and see you all next time. Thank you for joining us.